This is Covering the Spread, part of the FanDuel Podcast Network.
With Monday Night Football in the books, we are officially on to Thanksgiving week in the NFL, and that means 3 separate games, 3 separate island games we can bet on. Today, we're going to go game by game, break down my thoughts on all 3 of those games, lay out my read on the spread and the total, and player props I like at FanDuel Sportsbook across Thanksgiving, which should be a banger for this year. Welcome on into Covering the Spread. This is a FanDuel Research podcast. My name is JimSannes. I am a managing editor for FanDuel Research, here to break down all 3 Thanksgiving NFL games, laying out my best bets and player props across those games at FanDuel Sportsbook for this year's Thanksgiving slate. We'll dive in game by game here in just 1 second. First, wanted to run through our schedule for this week. Again, truncated schedule, just 3 days of content. Still 5 shows. Had the Monday Night Football show last night. Later today at noon Eastern, we'll be live on this YouTube page breaking down the NFL DFS Thanksgiving slate. We'll talk to that with Brandon Gadula, going game by game there as well. So if you want to play some DFS on Thanksgiving, tune in noon Eastern on this very same YouTube page. Tomorrow, we'll go through the other Week 13 NFL games, including the Black Friday game between the Chiefs and the Raiders. I'll go through each game, spreads, totals, predictions, my favorite bets of FanDuel Sportsbook for the other Week 13 games. Then 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow for that. And then the NFL Week 13 main DFS slate, that'll be up at 2 p.m. Eastern, again, here on this YouTube page. So easiest way to get those shows is just subscribe over on the YouTube page, turn on notifications, and leave us a thumbs up. We appreciate those of you who have done so already. And of course, all the betting shows on the Covering the Spread podcast feed as well. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more, all on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, an affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, and in 18 plus are present in DC. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Let's kick things off here by talking about the first game on Thanksgiving. That is the Bears at the Lions. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook. Lions favored by 10.5, and the total here is 48.5. And I do have the Lions favored by more than 10.5 here. My concern is that 10 is obviously a very key number when betting on the NFL. So even if like the average win for the Lions is by more than 10.5 points, they may not cover 10.5 at a clip high enough to justify laying -110 there. So I do like the Lions minus 10.5 and -110. I have not bet that one yet, though, because it is right around a key number. So probably not going to get there. What it does do is it does impact my view of other markets in this game. We're willing to bet on positive lines, player props, and stuff like that. The one bet I do like here, and I like it quite a bit, is actually going to wind up being the over. 48.5 is -110 at FanDuel Sportsbook, and I've got this number at 51.3. That is despite downgrading the Lions quite a bit with Taylor Decker, I think, going to be out there, left tackle. Khalif Raymond's probably not going to play. I bet Amon-Ra St. Brown and David Montgomery will, but even downgrading the Lions with Decker and Raymond likely out, I still got this at 51.3 because it is a large spread. It is not an elite defense for the Bears, not an elite defense for the Lions either. Caleb Williams looking pretty good, playing some tempo a bit recently, which should help the over here as well. So we're getting a good convergence of things where I think the Lions move the football. I think the Bears can maybe do some stuff in a negative game script as well. That bodes well for an over again. 48.5 minus 110. I've got this one at 51.3. More than willing to take the over here as a result of all of those factors. Other reason I like the over more than I like betting the spread is because I have been pretty impressed by Caleb Williams the past 2 games. Thomas Brown calling plays for him right now. Williams working quicker, scrambling a bit more. He's looked more efficient. He's looked more confident in the pocket as well. So I kind of don't want to bet against Williams at the moment. This allows me to buy into what my numbers are saying, but also not actually bet against Caleb Williams, who, again, I think has looked pretty impressive the past couple of games. So taking the over 48.5 for the Bears and the Lions in the first game. As far as player props go in this one, again, I am assuming as of right now, no Taylor Decker, assuming there's no Khalif Raymond. I really, really, really wanted to talk myself into some Allen Robinson revenge game. He is 21-1 to score. I wanted to talk myself into it. Couldn't quite get there. Again, it is a revenge game. Wanted to get there, but dug into the data and he ran just 2 routes, despite the fact that Raymond missed most of that game this past week. Instead, expecting Tim Patrick to be the primary fill-in for Raymond. He's plus 550 to score. I do like that number. I think that's pretty enticing. Have not taken that one yet, though, but keeping at least close tabs on it. My favorite touchdown bet for this game is going to be Sam Laporta. He is plus 230 at FanDuel Sportsbook. We talked with Aiden Cotter this past week on covering the spread about his favorite player props. He was eyeing Laporta as potentially a guy to turn to for this week, and I think we can go right back there once again. Laporta has just a 17% red zone share this year with all 3 of Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown and himself in the lineup, but been getting more downfield targets recently, and I think that's going to translate to some big plays at some point. Hasn't yet, and he didn't do a whole lot this past week against the Colts, but good setup here against the Lions. They're at home. Their team total is massive. I think their team total deserves to be where it's at as well. So I do like Laporta anytime touchdown. That is plus 230 at FanDuel Sportsbook as of right now. Other player prop I want to bet is going to be on Jameson Williams. Obviously, Williams is chaotic, erratic. He is tough to predict. His baseline number 47.5, no interest in touching that because there's a pretty decent chance, a very much non-zero chance that Williams gets us 0 receptions in this game. But because JMO is such a big play threat, he has somebody who can instead turn towards in all markets. And those are numbers he does hit at a pretty good clip. Specifically, I like Williams to get 70 plus yards. That is plus 205 at FanDuel Sportsbook because he's actually gotten there in 5 out of 9 games so far this year. He is a guy who can get there in one play, which is not true for most players. And yes, it's been fluky the way he scored his touchdowns this year, but is it actually fluky if it keeps on happening? And it makes sense when you consider how fast he is, how dynamic he is, and stuff like that. They clearly want to get him the ball downfield. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think, will play, but a tough matchup for him in the slot against this Bears defense. So that could funnel more work Jameson Williams' way as well. I think there are a lot of factors pointing towards Williams as being a guy we can bet on in all markets here and betting on as being a DFS play as well. So Williams, 70 plus yards is plus 210 at FanDuel Sportsbook. Again, he's gotten here in 5 out of 9 games so far. I hope he can get there again on Thursday because I do think there is good enough value to actually pull the trigger on this one as well. So the 3 bets I like here for the Lions and the Bears, like JMO, 70 plus yards, that is plus 210. Sam Laporta, anytime touchdown at plus 230. And liking the over 48.5, that is minus 110 at FanDuel Sportsbook as of right now. Second game of the week is obviously the most thrilling matchup on the board. That is the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook, the Cowboys favored by 3.5. You're laying minus 115 to lay the 3.5. Total is 37.5. I have made every alteration I could possibly imagine to this game. I have upgraded the Cowboys because Cooper Rush looked good last week. I have made a massive ding for the Giants having Tommy DeVito. We talked at last week's show about how I like the Buccaneers to cover 5.5 points there, and they did pretty easily. So my numbers do not like DeVito. They do not like this Giants team, but I cannot make them as big of underdogs as they currently are. I'm seeing value in the Giants money line at plus 176. And I hate the fact that I'm saying this. I hate the fact that I have to think about this game. I hate the fact that I have to think about betting the Giants right now, considering they probably quit in that game against the Buccaneers last week. And I don't blame them, given they're starting a 3rd string quarterback when their best quarterback is now a free agent. But this defense is a lot better than the Cowboys are. If they have not quit, they rank 19th according to Number Fire schedule adjusted metrics, whereas the Cowboys are 30th. Again, I made every alteration I can to this game to try to understand how I can get the Cowboys as heavily favored as they are at FanDuel Sportsbook. But even when I do all those alterations, I still have the Giants at 38.3% to win. Their implied odds are 36.2%. So I hate myself for this, but I actually do think the Giants are a value plus 176 to win this game outright against the Cowboys on Thursday. If you don't want to take it, cool. I don't either. I don't blame you. Feel free to skip it. I will not be offended. I will not know. I guarantee you it will not make any difference to me at all. But I'm just saying I am seeing value on the Giants at plus 176. Low scoring game. They have the better defense in this game. Cooper Rush is not some superstar we need to be trembling in our boots about. So it is what it is. I'm just telling you that I've got value there. I took it myself. Didn't feel great about it, but it is what it is. I did take the Giants personally on the money line. I took it plus 180, but they're plus 176 right now, and that is at least still a value for me. As far as player props go in this game, I thought long and hard about betting an under on Tyrone Tracy because his role was not very good this past week. Lost another fumble inside the red zone. It was on kind of like a gadgety type play. So I'm not sure how much you want to ding him for that one, but he's lost a couple of fumbles now, and I'm wondering if he does wind up getting dinged. Now, he's a very good player, and the Cowboys defense, as mentioned, stinks. That's why I couldn't quite get there on the under for Tracy. 62.5 is his rushing yardage mark. His rushing plus receiving is 79.5. I prefer that number because he does get work as a pass catcher. So I don't know. I couldn't quite talk myself into the under. Did look long and hard at it. Same thing for Rico Dowdle. His role was pretty good this past week, and it's been good in general with Cooper Rush starting. I did try to talk myself into unders there. Try to talk myself into unders on guys like Wan'Dale Robinson. Thought about an under on Malik Neighbors as well. I couldn't get there. So for me, really the lone bet I do like in this game is the Giants money line. And like is a strong word. I am tolerant towards it. I am showing value on it. It is what it is. But the one bet that I am like somewhat comfortable with in this game is the Giants money line plus 176. And even that one makes my inside squirm. So let's instead talk about the final game on Thursday. That is the Dolphins at the Packers. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook. Packers favored by 3.5. Total in this game is 47.5. And a lot of interesting weather in this game, 10-mile-per-hour winds, and it's also very cold. I don't care that much about temperature when it comes to my model, but, probably not ideal to have the Dolphins playing in low temperatures and 10-mile-per-hour winds. That's why I'm going to take the under in this game. Under 47.5 is currently minus 115 at FanDuel Sportsbook, and it's not like I'm just betting against the Dolphins here because I've also got the Packers favored by 3.7, so not a massive differential from the market there, but the total for me is 44.5 as opposed to 47.5. That's despite a pretty big upgrade for how good the Dolphins have looked. Like, I had the favored by 8.5 against the Patriots this past week, so I have above market on them there. Just can't quite get to loving them here, despite the fact my numbers are very high on Tua Tagovailoa and how well he's playing right now. But neither offense is very fast. Both defenses are actually playing better than you think. The Packers rank 10th in Number Fire schedule adjusted defensive rankings. Dolphins are 9th there. So two good defenses, less than ideal weather with 10-mile-per-hour winds, and some concerns about the Dolphins going into colder weather, all playing in here and forced me to take the under 44.5, currently minus 115 at FanDuel Sportsbook. Even with the under being the play here, I did give at least some consideration to some touchdown props in this game, specifically Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith actually leads the Dolphins in targets since Tua Tagovailoa returned. He's plus 250 to score at FanDuel Sportsbook. Did think about that. Don't hate it personally. Also, will have interest in some Christian Watson numbers once they're posted. They're not up yet, I don't think. Actually, they are. They just went up. 43.5. That's actually a bigger number than I was expecting. I was going to look there because Romeo Doubs probably not going to play. So like, okay, I can go towards Christian Watson. 43.5 is probably high enough to scare me off. So not going to wind up getting there on Watson, despite the fact I am assuming that Dobbs will not play. Would consider under on Dontavian Wicks 32.5, just because I think Tucker Kraft will get involved. Wicks had trouble catching the football this year, and his role is kind of diminished, where he's split in work with Bo Melton, Malik Heath. So would at least consider Dontavian Wicks under 32.5 and minus 114, especially if that number does rise once Dobbs is officially ruled out, which I'd expect him to be tomorrow afternoon. So looking towards some Wicks unders, thought about Watson overs, would still consider all markets for Christian Watson, which are not up as of yet, but would be looking in there. The one prop that I like the most in this game is going to be on Josh Jacobs. His baseline rushing plus receiving number is 90.5 over his minus 113. I don't mind the baseline number here, but I'm mostly intrigued by the alt market for Josh Jacobs. To get 100 plus rushing plus receiving yards right now, FanDuel Sportsbook plus 125. That is despite the fact that Jacobs has gotten there in 4 consecutive games. He has gotten 100 plus in 5 out of 9 games he has played with Jordan Love. So he's gotten there in over half of his games with Love. He has gotten there in 4 consecutive games, and they're now at home favored in somewhat heavy wins in a lower temperature game. I know that Jacobs did play a lot in that game against the Niners. Maybe they want to rest him and stuff like that if they do get a lead. I'm not super concerned about that because this is a very important game for the Packers in a very competitive NFC playoff race. So Jacobs is a good football player. He is at home. He is favored, a little bit windy, to keep the ball on the ground a bit, and he's looked good thus far. And he's gotten to this number again in 4 consecutive games. So I want to go Josh Jacobs, 100 plus rushing plus receiving yards at FanDuel Sportsbook. That is currently plus 125. To me, a very fair number. Don't mind if you want to go with the baseline number again, 90.5 over his minus 113. But to me, alt market here once again is the preferred way to bet this one. So to recap, bets I like across Thanksgiving. I like Josh Jacobs, 100 plus rushing plus receiving yards. That is plus 125. I like the under for the Dolphins and the Packers. 47.5 is minus 115. I'm on the Giants money line for better or worse, plus 176. And then in the Lions and Bears game, like the over 48.5 minus 110. Liking Sam Laporte anytime touchdown at plus 230 or plus 230. And then Jameson Williams, 70 plus receiving yards. That is plus 210 over at FanDuel Sportsbook. That is all that we have here for today. And if you want my thoughts on the other Week 13 games of FanDuel Sportsbook, we'll go through all those games, game by game, tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on this exact same YouTube page. So go there, subscribe, enable notifications, and leave us a thumbs up. We appreciate those of you watching currently over there, as always. Later today, Thanksgiving, NFL DFS breakdown via myself and Brandon Gadul. We'll talk more Jameson Williams, talk more Josh Jacobs there. Again, noon Eastern on the same YouTube page, talking Thanksgiving DFS, Thanksgiving main slate show, 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, same place as well. If you got any questions for me, I am on X at JimSannes. You can find me on Blue Sky at JimSannes as well. You can also find FanDuel Research on X at FanDuel Research. Big thank you to our YouTube producer, Justin Lane, for his work on the video side of things. Thank you, Justin, as always. And thank you to everyone for tuning in. Enjoy Thanksgiving. If I don't talk to you again before then, have a fantastic time. Good luck with your bets. We'll talk to you once again soon. This has been Covering the Spread, a FanDuel Research podcast.